Today we're going to be learning about substituting into algebraic equations to generate tables of ordered pairs. First, let's quickly talk about what ordered pairs are. An ordered pair is a pair of values that's written in brackets like this in a specific order. Normally your ordered pair will be an x value and a y value, and the x value goes first and the y value goes second. So when it's written like this, people know as soon as they look at it that the first value there is the x value and the second value is the y value. There's no question about it being the other way around because that is the standard way that it is written. So that's what an ordered pair is. Now this is very useful and it's important for you to know and to be familiar with, because we're going to be using this a lot when we get into graphs as well. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be learning to generate tables of ordered pairs that we would then be able to use to draw a graph later on. So let's look at our first example for today. Over here, we have got the equation y equals 2x plus 4, and then we have got a table with some x values, a couple of y values, and we're also going to have space to fill in our ordered pairs as well. Okay, so first let's just go and see how we would fill in these values. Now this isn't new, this is something we have done before. We've used an equation and we've substituted in to generate or to find out what the corresponding y values or x values are for that equation with those particular values. Okay, so over here the first one we're going to do is where x is -3. So I'm going to take the equation. We've got y equals 2x plus 4. When I want to work out the y value where x is -3, I'm going to substitute in that -3 into x. So that's going to be where x is -3, y is equal to 2 times -3 plus 4. And that gives us -6. Remember, when you substitute into an equation, you must use brackets. So over here, I'm replacing the x with the -3 in brackets. So it doesn't look like 2 minus 3, it's 2 multiplied by -3. So that's 2 times -3 is -6. Plus 4, and that gives me -2. So that means that where x is -3, y is -2. So now let's go and have a look at our table over here and fill that in. So if x is -3, then y is going to be -2, and that gives us an ordered pair. Remember, we said in the ordered pair we write the x value first and then the y value. So in our brackets, our x value, then we've got a semicolon, or you maybe write a comma as well, depending on where you are in the world. So in South Africa, we use a semicolon, so it's bracket, then -3 for the x value, then we've got our semicolon, then we've got the -2, which is the y value, and then we close our bracket. So that is our ordered pair for those values over there for this particular equation. Right, now let's have a look at our next one, where x is -2. So we're going to do the exact same thing, but this time I'm going to substitute in -2 for x. So I get y equals 2 multiplied by -2 in brackets, plus 4. 2 times -2 is -4, plus 4 gives me 0. So that means if x is -2, then y is going to be 0. So if I go and put that in over here, if x is -2, then y is going to be 0, and our ordered pair is going to look like this. We've got -2 and 0 in our brackets like that. Okay, the next one, x is 0. So now we're going to be substituting 0 into the x in our equation. So over here, if x is 0, then y is equal to 2 multiplied by 0 plus 4, and that gives us 0 plus, there's no bracket there, 0 plus 4, and that gives us 4. So if x is 0, then y is going to be equal to 4. So it's going to look like this. Over here, if x is 0, y is 4, and our ordered pair is going to be 0, 4, like that. Okay, so now we're going to go, in these two over here, we need to find the x value that will give us these y values over here. So first, if y is 6, then I'm going to be doing this. Let's just go over here. If y is 6, then I'm going to substitute the 6 into the y in my equation. So I have 6 equals 2x plus 4. Now I don't really have to worry about putting that in brackets because there's nothing else there. Now I have to solve for x. This is now an equation, like a normal equation. I'm going to solve for x. So I need to get rid of the 4 on this side by subtracting on both sides. That's going to be 6 minus 4 is 2, equal to 2x. And then I need to get the x on its own, so I'm going to divide by the 2 on both sides. So that's going to be 1 equal to x. So that means that if y is 6, then x is equal to 1. Okay, so in our table over here, If y is 6, then x will be 1, and our ordered pair is going to be 1, 6. Remember, the x value still goes first. Even though we were started with the y value now, the x value is still written first, and the y value is still written second. Okay, and then the last one we have over here, the y value we've been given is 12. So now we have to go and find out what x value will produce a y value of 12 with this equation. Okay, so let's go and do that over here. If y is 12, then we've got 12 equal to 2x plus 4. So now I'm going to go and solve for x. Again, I need to get rid of the 4 on this side by subtracting on both sides. So I've got 12 minus 4, that's 8 on the left, equal to 2x. Then I'm going to divide by the 2 to get rid of it on over here. So I must divide by 2 on both sides. So that's going to be 8 divided by 2 is 4 equal to x. So that means that if y is 12, then x is equal to 4. So in our table, it's going to look like this. Over here, if y is 12, then x is 4. So our ordered pair is going to be 4, 12, like that. Okay, so that's how we would do that particular question. Now you're going to do a few for yourself. Here's the first one you're going to work on. So in this example, you have got y equal to negative x minus 8. You've been given different x values and y values. You need to find the missing y values and x values and fill in the ordered pairs as well. And I'm going to give you 3 minutes to work on this example. Okay, so let's go through what you should have done for this table. So first of all, our equation was y equals negative x minus 8. The first x value that you were given was negative 1. So if x is negative 1, then we're going to have y equal to negative, and then in brackets negative 1 minus 8. So now we need to go and simplify this. So negative 1 is positive 1 minus 8, that gives us negative 7. So if x is negative 1, y is going to be negative 7. I'm going to go and fill all these things in the table once I'm done with all the calculations. The next one, x is 0. So here I've got y equal to negative, and then in brackets 0 minus 8. Now, negative 0 is the same as just 0, so I'm just going to have 0 minus 8, which gives me negative 8. So if x is 0, then y is negative 8. The next one we've got, is x equals 1. So then I've got y equal to negative, and then in brackets 1 minus 8. So that's negative 1 minus 8, which gives me negative 9. So if x is 1, then y is going to be negative 9. Okay, then the next one, y is equal to negative 6. So here I've got negative 6 equal to negative x minus 8. So now I need to go and solve for x. So I'm going to get rid of the negative 8 by adding 8 on both sides. So it's going to be negative 6 plus 8 equals negative x. So that's going to be negative 6 plus 8 is 2 equal to negative x. And then I have a choice. I can either move this to the left by adding on both sides, and then it becomes positive on the left, or I can just divide by negative 2 or divide by negative 1 or multiply by negative 1, giving me negative 2 equal to x. And then I can say, therefore, x is equal to negative 2. So if y is negative 6, then x is negative 2. Okay, then the last one is if y is equal to 0, that gives us 0 equal to negative x minus 8. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this negative x, I want to rather move it to the left so that it'll become positive straight away. So I'm going to add x on both sides to cancel it out on the side. So it's going to be x equals negative 8. So if y is 0, then x is negative 8. Okay, so now let's go and fill those in on our table. So in the table, if x was negative 1, we worked out that y is negative 7, and our ordered pair is then negative 1, negative 7. If x is 0, then y was negative 8, and our ordered pair is 0, negative 8. If x is 1, then y is negative 9, and our ordered pair is 1, negative 9. Then if y was negative 6, we worked out that x would be negative 2, which gives us the ordered pair negative 2, negative 6. And if y is 0, then x is negative 8, giving us the ordered pair negative 8, 0. So that's what you should have got for that example. Now let's go on to the next example, the last one for today. In this example, we've got the equation y equals 2x squared minus 32. Okay, so just like in the previous one, we've got a few x values that you're going to find the y values for and the ordered pairs, but then this is going to be a little bit different over here. So I want you to do these ones. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to work on these ones, and then I will do these ones with you after that. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to give you 2 minutes just to work out these ones over here. Okay, so let's see what you should have got for those three x values quickly. So over here, we're starting with the equation y equals 2x squared minus 32. Okay, so the first x value we were given was -1, so x is -1, then we need to work out what y is going to be. So y is equal to 2 times -1 squared minus 32. So that's 2 times -1 squared is +1. Remember, when you have an even exponent, then a negative is going to become positive. So it's +1 minus 32. 2 times 1 is 2 minus 32 gives me -30. So if x is -1, then y is going to be -30. Right, the next one is if x is 0. So y is equal to 2 times 0 squared minus 32. So that's 2 times 0 minus 32. 0 squared is still 0. And that gives us 0 minus 32, which is just -32. Okay, so if x is 0, y is going to be -32. Then the last one that you had to do now was if x is 1. So that's going to be y equals 2 times 1 squared minus 32, which is 2 times 1 minus 32, which is 2 minus 32, which is -30. So if x is 1, y is -30. So now let's go and fill those in on our table quickly. So over here, if x is -1, we worked out that y would be -30, giving us the ordered pair -1, -30. Then if x is 0, y is -32, giving us the ordered pair 0, -32. And then if x is 1, y is -30, giving us the ordered pair 1, -30. Now I want you to have a look at this over here. Both of these have the exact same y value. If x is -1 and if x is 1, they both give me a y value of -30. And that is because I've got x squared in this equation. And when you square a negative value and a positive value, if it's the same absolute value. So they both are 1. Okay, this is -1 and this is +1, but they both are 1. When I square them, I'm going to end up with the same thing. So that's exactly what happened over here. Over here, when I squared the -1, I got 2 times 1 minus 32. And when I squared the +1, I also got 2 times 1 minus 32. Remember, when we square a negative value, it becomes positive. So what happens is I can end up with two different x values giving me the same y value when you've got an x squared in your equation like this. So over here, we had two x values, both giving us the exact same y value of -30. And that's because of this x squared over here. So now, when we're going to find the x values that will give us 0 for our y value, we need to take that into account when we are solving our equation, that there could possibly be two x values giving us that y value. Just like over here, there are two x values that gave us -30 for the y value. Okay, so we're going to go and work out what these x values are going to be now. Okay, so we have y is equal to 0, and now we're going to go and find out which x values will give us 0 for y. So I'm going to have 0 equals 2x squared minus 32. So first I'm going to go and solve it like I normally would. So I want to get the 32 away from here, so I'm going to add 32 on both sides. So I've got 32 equals 2x squared. Now I want to get rid of this 2 over here, so I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. That's going to be 16 equals x squared. Now remember, we have learned already in the past about how to do equations where you've got x squared. And remember, when you have x squared in your equation, you're solving for it, there are going to be two possible answers. You're going to take the square root of 16, because you want to find out what just x is, so you need to square root it, so you're going to square root both sides. But we have to take the positive and negative square root of 16 when we're working out x. And the reason is because if I have, the square root of 16 is 4, so it's positive and negative 4. If I have positive 4, now let's go and check this. If I have positive 4 and I square it, because it's x squared, what do I get? I get 16. But if I have negative 4 and I square it, remember, when you square a negative number, you get a positive answer. That also gives me 16. So both of these, positive 4 and negative 4, will both give me 16 when I square them. So if x squared is equal to 16, that means that whatever I have for x, if I square it, it must give me 16. Both of these will work. If I square 4 or negative 4, they will both give me 16. So both of these are going to be solutions for that equation. So when I'm going to be filling this in on my table over here, if y is 0, then I can have two possible x values. I can either have negative 4 or I can have positive 4. Both of them will yield a 0 for y. Okay, so I have two possible ordered pairs that I can get here as well. If x is negative 4, then y is 0. That's an ordered pair. If x is 4, y is also 0. That's another ordered pair over there. So when you have x squared in your equation, you need to be careful about that there will sometimes be more than one x value that will give you a particular y value. You have to take both the positive and negative values into account. Okay, and that is how we generate tables of ordered pairs, by substituting into equations. Now that we've learned the concepts in this lesson, it's important to practice, practice, practice. If you haven't already got the worksheet that goes with this video, you can find it by clicking on the link in the description below. The worksheet comes with an extra exercise full of questions for you to work on to master the concepts covered in this lesson. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button so that others can benefit from it too. Also, be sure to subscribe so that you can easily find my other lessons, and hit the bell so that you will get notified about lessons as I upload them.